So here we have the Masterlize X Piece Ichiban Kuji Whitebeard Pirate set. I've been looking forward to these figures ever since they were announced, so let's get them opened up. We'll see how they scale together and also how they scale with some other figures from my collection. So first up is Ace, and this is like my first regular size Ace figure. I have this really tiny one, but this one should be much more detailed and definitely bigger, so he'll stand out more on the shelf. Alright, so we have him out of the box now, so we can look at all of his details. Let's start with the boots. So here's the bottom of the boots. I really like all the little grooves in there, the design of the soles on the boots. And then if we look at the side and top, he has these really pale yellow dots on the side of his boots, then this kind of stripe or strap in the middle here. And then I like how it's sculpted here at the top of the boot. It's all like wrinkled up, and same thing on the shorts too. They look pretty nice too. And yeah, no shading at all. No shading at all in the shorts, but I think it's fine since they're so dark anyway. It doesn't really look bad without the shading there. And then on his left leg, he has this blue belt wrapped around, holding this little pouch on there. And yeah, the paint job on that looks pretty nice. Looks like it has a little bit of shading into it. Then these little yellow buttons, and then right above that is his dagger, which looks pretty nicely done also. And then right here on his shorts, we can see the marking right there. I'm going to start showing this in all of my videos going forward, because I've had a few people comment asking me where that marking is on some figures, and it's something I just never put in my videos. So yeah, from now on I'm going to be making sure to show that. And it also has a little number at the bottom there, 64475, which matches up with the number on the back of the box. Alright, so let's get back to his details now. So he has the orange belt wrapped around him, and there's the belt buckle in the front with the A on it. And then I really like on the right side how it's just like hanging there. Then you can see it looped in the back right there. I think that looks pretty nice. And then yeah, his body looks good. We can see this little chin strap thing hanging down from his hat. It's got like a little skull in it with some horns on it also. And then let's look at his back. So I just love the Whitebeard Pirates tattoo going right down the middle of his back there. It looks great. It has a black outline going all around it. Then on his left arm, he has the tattoo on the arm, then the little orange elbow pad, and then on his wrist, he has his log pose and this little kind of loose wristband thing just hanging on right there. And yeah, the log pose I think could have been better if instead of just blue, they had it clear with like a little needle in there, or even just a little decal of the needle inside. But here is his face. I don't really love the face on this one. Looks fine, just don't really like the expression. Looks like he's constipated or something, maybe. I don't know. But from the side, it does look pretty nice. Looks like he's just smirking there. From like the left side or even the right side. I just don't really love the straight on view of the face. Then yeah, he has his necklace with these big round bead balls on it. And that's just stuck there. That's not loose. It's secured onto his neck. And then he's kind of got the same thing around the top of his hat. But on the front of it there, it has those blue little circles with the faces in them. And yeah, hat looks good. And here is his base. I really like this thing. Look at that wood texture on it. Looks really nice it's on the front, the top, and the back, but the sides are just flat. There's no little wood texture grain in there, so that's alright. It would have been better though if they could have continued that wood look all the way around it. And then here's what the bottom looks like. It's just hollow and empty. And Ace can actually stand anywhere on this. Like, look at that. Figures like this are always fun because you could do so much with them. Like, go find a rock outside, just set him on it. He could probably stand on it, or just anything. If you make like your own display, just get something high enough, he could just stand right onto it like that. And he's pretty stable. I mean, he's fine. Of course, he will be a lot more stable if you stick him onto the foot pegs though, like this. See, then that's where he's supposed to go. And yeah, definitely a lot more stable like that, but you can really just put him anywhere if you want to. So there's Ace, I like him, and next we'll be opening up Marco. Or actually, I think I'll do Marco and Jozu together, because their poses are taken straight from the manga. I think it's their very first appearance. They're in these exact poses, so we'll open these ones together, and it'll be really easy to tell if these two are in scale with each other, because all I gotta do is look at Marco's head in that manga panel and see if it lines up to Jozu's shoulder just like that. And then we'll see that. But just looking at the boxes, it does look like Marco's gonna be a bit out of scale, probably too big, but let's see. So right away, Jozu is just so impressive. He's just this giant chunk of plastic. He has a pretty good weight to him. Just a massive beast here. Really loving this already. Just my first look at it. He looks amazing. He's huge. And yeah, here's his base. So got the same wood look and paint job that the Ace base has. It's on the front, the top, the back, and then the sides are just blank, plasticky looking. Then the bottom, hollow again, and you can also see the little marking in there and the number, just like on Ace's. And then let's find it on Jozu himself now. So okay, it's right there on the back of his skirt piece type of thing. It's right there, pretty easy to find. They could have like hid it under here, but not that big a deal at all. But yeah, look at that. Look at all that armor plating hanging down. I've always loved Jozu's whole design, his outfit, his look. Look at him. He's just a giant mountain of a beast. Look at that neck from the back. What a sexy beast here. And then yeah, the paint job on his body looks really nice too. Like his arms, his giant muscles, all of it has some really nice shading going all throughout it. And his face looks great too. Look at that bone structure. His cheeks are just way out there, and his eyebrows too. What a beautiful beast. And then down here he's got these elf looking shoes going all the way up. It's like a whole connected thing all the way coming down from his pants. And then yeah, there's the bottom of his shoes. Pretty interesting little design down there. I really like it. And then what else to look at on this beast? Here he is from the side around. He's got all these little bumps in his hair. I guess that's just how he styles it. Then he has these gold straps going over his shoulders. I like how you can see the space between them. You see right there in the front and the back, how you can see that empty space on there. It really makes it look like they're, really on him. It looks like it has a little bit of shading down there too as it gets to the bottom of all these layers. See, it gets a little bit darker at the very bottom. And right here you can see his fingers sticking through from his other arm that he's got crossed under there. Yeah, detail on the fingers looks really nice. You can see those fingernails. Like they're not just like blending into the finger. You can really see that the outline of the fingernails and then the little lines on the knuckles. Yep, let's sit him onto his base now. So he doesn't have any pegs or anything. He just sits straight onto there and his feet rest on the floor. So kind of like Ace, you could really put him wherever you want. If you could find something the same height, you could just have him sitting down pretty much anywhere. Look at that. So here's Marco, and his base is just like a flat slab, and then on the bottom of it again we can see the marking with the number. And the top has that really nice wood texture in it, and the sides are all just blank plasticky looking on the side. And yeah, it has three pegs in it. Then he's got 3 pegs in his sandals here. And yeah, let's look at his details now. So we can see all his little toes right there. Then the sandals have like changing color from brown to black. And yeah, you can actually fill these on there. They're not just painted flat on there. You can fill their actually little risen portions. So that's always nice. And then he's got this one thing around his left leg there. Not sure what to call that. Don't know what that even is, but there it is. And now on to his pants. So I think they look good. They have like maybe it would be called a satin finish to them. They've got a little bit of a sheen to them that's different than the flat look of the shirt. Kind of like the Grand Line Men Arlong kind of has a similar look to the pants, but maybe Marco's are a little bit more subtle than that. But yeah, I think they look pretty good. And then he's got this blue sash wrapped around him at the top of his pants here, and it's hanging out. And then here's the front of him. He's got this tattoo on his chest, and I wonder what that is. I forget if they ever mention like what that symbol is. I feel like I looked it up once, but can't remember right now if it was ever even said. Then he has like this strap hooked onto his sash right there. You can see if you follow it all the way around, it does actually hook up there into the back also. And this is where his marking is hidden. They hit it really good and nice on this one. It's right here on the back of his shirt, the inside of the back of his shirt. So there's that. And then let's see his head. You can see some darker yellow mixed in there to the hair. Looks pretty nice. And I think his face looks pretty good too. You can see he's got a little bit of his his stubble down there, his beard. And then we can see his bald head sticking out in the back there. Now let's get him onto the stand and see how he scales with Jozu. So I guess it wasn't quite as simple as I thought it would be. Yeah, Marco looks pretty big, pretty oversized. And yeah, Jozu is, in the picture, he has like 2 more steps under him, so he's a little bit higher than this. But even if I put him up on something taller like this to make Marco's head line up at the right spot, Marco just looks too big. So yeah, we'll get more into the scaling and stuff later in the video. But yeah, Marco is pretty big. Now let's open the Whitebeard mug. So this one is prize F, and yeah, I haven't been going in order with the, prize letters, but whatever. So here's the box, got a picture of it on the side, and yeah, you might notice there's no tape on this box, but that's just how some of them are. You can see there's like no sign that there ever was tape. It was never there in the first place, so that's not something you should worry about if you buy one of those. They're all going to be like this, and it also does not have a Toei sticker on the top, but there is one printed on the back. And yeah, some of these Ichiban Kuji prizes are just like that. It's the same thing with the Onigashima bowl that I got. It's the same as this. No Toei sticker and no tape. I don't think it had tape either. So yeah, some of them are just like that. So here it is inside of here. Got some little cardboard flaps in here, then another layer. And inside, we just have the mug right there. Look at that, it's got a little Newgate on it, and then he's using his devil fruit there on the cup. You can see it's actually like sculpted onto there. I think it looks really nice. And yeah, the rest of the cup is just plain white. And then there's the inside white. And yeah, that devil fruit effect on the side doesn't interfere with the inside of the cup at all. It's just flat and smooth inside. Then the outside, you can see the little bumps on it. And on the bottom of the cup, it looks like that wasn't stamped quite in the middle. It's off center. But yeah, you can see it says the same number, 64475. So that's going to be on all of these figures, I guess, since they're part of the same set, that they're all going to share that same 64475 number. And next up is Vista. And this is one of the ones I'm most looking forward to from this set. Jozu was another, and now Vista, because they don't get too many figures at all. And yeah, I think he's going to be great, but let's get him out of the box and find out. And yeah, his box does have tape, so did Ace's, Marco's, and Jozu's. I just didn't show it, but yeah, all the figures, all the characters are going to have the tape on the boxes. It was just that little Whitebeard mug that one's a little bit different. So let's get this beast out of here. So first, here is his base. It has the darker streaks there going over the wood grain texture, and then on the bottom we can see that marking 64475 again, and yeah, it's just a flat slab like Marco's base. Here he is, and just first glance he looks great. And yeah, look at that, he can stand up without the base. He stands up fine, but how stable is he? I mean, it's not terrible stability, so you could do it, but I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to make sure to put him on that stand. Let's get a look at his details. So starting off with the boots, we can see they're very glossy, and yeah, I think they look good. I love the paint job on them. And then on the bottom, you can see the holes that will go right into the pegs. And then over here, we can see the inside of his cape, and that looks great too. It has a pretty nice looking finish to it. Yeah, it's purple on the inside and then just black on the outside. And it's kind of rubbery, which I like. It's kind of flexible, you can see. And now let's look at his swords, or his scabbards, I guess. You can see down here, right where it gets to the little cap at the end, there's a little bit of purple right there. It looks pretty nice. You can see it right there. And then also again where it changes to that white wrapped around it there on this one sword. And then up over here on this one, you can see some more of that little purple around these two pink things wrapped around it. Yeah, this one maybe looks a little bent, or maybe I can just bend it back into place. Yeah, these are pretty soft too. And yeah, let's look at his pants now. Pretty nice paint job on the pants. They have some lighter spots there mixed in with that blue. And yeah, the whole Vista himself, he has a whole bunch of lines etched into there, just all over the thing, on the pants, the shirt, the cape. Yeah, they really went really heavy with that. Really heavy with that for this one. Yeah, what a badass. And let's look at his gloves. So the gloves are kind of glossy like the boots, and they have a little bit of shading there around the knuckles. Really nice. And then yeah, he has this hand right on one of his swords. And now let's look at the shirt. So he's got this purple belt there with the gold buckle in the middle. That looks pretty nice. And so does the shirt itself, full of those little lines etched into there. And he's got that white design going all the way around his back. You can see it there if we look under the cape on the back. And let's look at his arms now. So look, you can see a little bit of shading on there, some little darker coloring there in the going along the lines on his muscles. And then here's his amazing hairy chest. It has some really nice, pretty nice shading in there too. You can see up around the top around his neck and kind of just all throughout it. And then the face, look at him, he's holding his mustache, kind of pulling it out to the side. I don't know if this one is based off any artwork or anything. I think his face looks great. And yeah, he has some earrings on. Then you can see his hair right there in the back. Then he has his top hat up there. And on the arms, he does have kind of a weird looking seam. You can see these little parts kind of stick out instead of a straight line. They kind of poke into there, kind of weird looking. At the same time, I've kind of already learned to overlook it. It doesn't really ruin the figure for me. Also, the other side has the same thing. A weird look if you focus on it too much. But yeah, I love this thing. Let's get him onto the stand. But now let's get out the sitting Whitebeard from this set, the Giant Beast, the biggest box in this whole set. And yeah, right here at the top of the box, it has a handle. So if you just cut the tape off right there, you could hold it by the handle like that. But yeah, let's get the rest of the tape off of this thing. And I almost got the last one prize too. I was debating getting both of them, but then I decided I'd rather that money just go towards a whole different figure, because there's a lot of things I'm wanting to get. These boxes with the handles always have all these flaps you gotta get out of the way before we can get to Whitebeard. Alright, so here he is, and we can see on his foot he has some bubble wrap wrapped around there to protect it. And look at that handsome face already just staring at us right here through the packaging. And down here I spot a little paint flaw, but we'll see if we can take care of that. Let's get him out of this plastic now. Alright, so here he is. He's a pretty big beast, but before we look at the details, let's see if I can get this little red paint off of here. So right here I have a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and yeah, these are abrasive, so it's gonna scrape the paint off. It's really easy to mess up your figure if you're doing this, so do it at your own risk, but I'm just gonna show you me trying to do it. Let's see what happens. I've done it before. It's worked pretty good a lot of times, and there's also times where I've scraped a little bit too much off, but I'm gonna go for it here. It depends, you know, what kind of flaw it is also. Like if it's you can tell like the paint, if it's like chipped off, then rubbing that magic eraser on there isn't really gonna do anything. But if it's like some paint transfer, or like this looks to just be some red that got on there by accident, so I'm hoping that I can just scrape that top layer of red off of there and that there's still yellow under. So I'm gonna go and dampen the magic eraser and let's see what happens. So Mr. Clean has been dampened, and hopefully the camera is in focus. Let's see if we can get this thing off. Let's do it very softly. It's like something came off. Oh look, it looks like it's taken off some of the yellow. Alright, so I did a little bit more off camera because it's just too hard to be precise with that camera in the way, and I'm pretty happy with the result. I can't even see the red anymore, and if we look at the magic eraser, it definitely did take off some yellow, but much better now. And now that I've got that taken care of, we can take a look at all of his details. So he's sitting on this big cushion seat, and then in the back of it we can see like 4 big buttons. I used to have a couch like this that had buttons like this, so this kind of reminds me of that. And then yeah, it just has lots of little wrinkles and lumps in it all along the seat. And then at the bottom here we can see It's pretty hollow, and then there's the marking right there, 64475, and I don't think we're gonna find a marking on Whitebeard since he's connected to the seat as one piece. You know, the other figures in this set were separate from the stand, so that's why the marking was on both the stand, on both the base and the figure itself. And when this set was first announced and they showed the first pictures of them, one thing that really stood out to me was Whitebeard's torso. Like, it looked really caved in. Like, look at it from the side here, it's kind of like sucked in, but then look at that beautiful face up there. I love that expression for Whitebeard. He's laughing, looks like he's laughing really hard, so I'm guessing maybe that is why they sculpted him like that. Maybe he's supposed to be like, you know, laughing so hard, you know, his stomach's like sucked in between the laugh. At least that's how I'm gonna think of it. Yeah, but that face, I love this look for Whitebeard. He's just having a great time here drinking. And I just love the hands on this Whitebeard. Look at those big, thick, meaty fingers. I love the details on the fingernails, just like with Jozu, and then also those little lines in the knuckles look really well done. And so are the veins right here on the back of his hands. Look at those veins. And then if we look further up the arm here, we can see some shading there in between his huge muscles on both the left and right arms. And then if we look at his body, his torso again, it doesn't look to have much, if any, shading at all, but still looks fine. And then I really like the scars on him here on his chest. You can actually feel them. They're like etched into there, so that's really nice. I mean, most Whitebeard figures do it like this, I think, but there might be some where they're just like colored on there and not actual grooves inside the body. And then down here we can see his sash. It looks like it might have a little bit of a different type of finish to it, like Marco's pants did. Let's start at the bottom here of the coat. We can see it hanging down there. He's sitting on it and it's hanging down over the edge of the seat right there. Has some really nice little wrinkles sculpted into it, and then all of those little designs in it. And I think these could look better if they had like a black outline to them, kind of like it is here on the Mega WCF Whitebeard. Look at that. I think that just looks really nice. So I would have loved to see something like that on this Whitebeard. Now moving further on up the coat, we can see some of it there between his arm and body there. And then further up here, it kind of peeks out again, a little fold right there, before fully coming out here on the collar. We can see it all the way around his neck. And then off to the sides, he's got his epaulets with the little yellow tassels hanging off the side. And on this side of the coat, we can see he has these yellow loops, while on the other side, it has black buttons. And something I really love about the buttons here on this side is that if you look way down at the bottom, you can see the buttons sticking out down there too. So yeah, that's really nice that they're actually sculpted and colored down there. And now let's take a look at his pants and boots. So when I first saw the first pictures of this, I wasn't sure if the pants were going to have shading or not. I just couldn't tell, or maybe I didn't look close enough. But seeing it now in person, the pants look great. They have like this gray dusty shading into them. It really brings out all those little layers and creases, wrinkles in them. Here's a view from like under Whitebeard. You can see more of that shading there, and then more wrinkles in the pants where his knee is bending. And there's also a bit more of that kind of grayish shading up here on the coat. You can see right around the yellow trim. You can see there's some gray there, and also some kind of going up right under the collar. And then yeah, it just kind of gradually changes to the regular white color there. So I thought that looked pretty nice. One thing I do think is a little weird about this Whitebeard is how the inside of the coat is a lighter color down here, but then when it gets to like these two little parts sticking out and then the collar, it gets darker. And like if you look at the side right here, from this angle, you can see that really bright red down there, then the dark red on top. Just looks a little weird if you focus on it right there. And yeah, all of my other Whitebeard figures have, you know, the same color on the inside wrapping around to the outside of the collar, like the Mega WCF one right here, all the other ones I have. So thought that was a bit of an odd choice, but I still love him. Look at this beautiful beast. So here's all of them together. I think Vista, Whitebeard, and Jozu look pretty good together. Jozu's a really thick and wide character. I think he looks just as he should. Looks pretty good in comparison to Whitebeard. Though I think maybe Whitebeard could be scaled up maybe like 10%, but you know, it's hard to tell the exact sizes when they're sitting down. I did try some measurements with soft measuring tape, but that didn't go too well, so can't really give any exact measurements, but I'm just going by what looks good to my eye. I think Vista looks fine. I think Jozu looks fine, but if we look at Ace and Marco, they really do stand out. They're huge. They look kind of out of place, and I do have these little Ace and Marcos. They're from the Super Modeling Soul line, and based off like the official heights, they're pretty much in scale with Whitebeard. So you could get these, but I think even a Grand Line Series Ace and Marco would fit a lot better with this set with the Vista, Whitebeard, and Jozu. I think they'd fit a lot better than this Masterlize XP size. But not everyone is going to care about scaling, so there's nothing wrong with just displaying the whole set together as it is. So this one's from an older Ichiban Kuji set, and he's standing upright, so he's a lot taller than Vista, Jozu, even though he's sitting down. And then here's what he looks like with the little Marco and Ace, and then the Masterlize Marco and Ace still look pretty big around him, but yeah, I think this Whitebeard looks great with this set. Now let's get some other figures out here. So I filled the table with only Masterlize X-Piece figures. We have the Whitebeard Pirate set, and then Blackbeard, Shanks, Buggy, Luffy, another Luffy, and another Whitebeard. So yeah, it's always great to get more Whitebeard Pirates figures. I'd say that the Jozu and Vista are the standouts of this set for me, and also the Whitebeard. The Whitebeard is also really great. Marco's good, and I think Ace is alright, so yep, there they are, the Ichiban Kuji Masterlize X-Piece Whitebeard Pirate set.